Have you ever spent hours, maybe days, even pulled an all-nighter, just convinced you were studying the right way? Highlighting everything, rereading chapters, nodding along, feeling like it's all sinking in.
Oh, absolutely.
And then when you actually need that info for a test or maybe a presentation, poof, it's just gone.
Yeah.
It feels like hitting your head against a brick wall, doesn't it?
It's incredibly common and really frustrating, frankly. If that sounds familiar to you listening, you're definitely not alone. What most people don't realize is it's usually not you. It's often the learning methods themselves. They feel super productive.
Right. Like you're really doing something.
Exactly.
Right.
But they're actually, well, pretty ineffective for making memories stick long term.
That's such a key point. So this feeling of knowing, this familiarity, it's not actually real mastery.
Not usually, no. It often boils down to what cognitive scientists call the illusion of competence.
Illusion of competence. Okay.
Yeah, those traditional ways, like just rereading passively or cramming like crazy, they make your brain feel like it gets the material. But that feeling, it rarely translates into deep understanding or, crucially, being able to recall it later. It's almost like, our brains are playing a little trick on us.
Okay, so that's what we're getting into today then.
Precisely. Our mission today in this deep dive is really to get past that feeling. We want to unpack why those common methods don't quite cut it and, more importantly, explore how your brain really learns best, how it actually holds on to information effectively.
Right. So we're looking at the science behind it all. The goal is to give you, our listeners, some really actionable strategies. Things backed by actual research that can genuinely transform how you learn and remember stuff. It's not about grinding harder, is it?
Not at all. It's about working smarter, aligning with how your brain is actually wired.
Excellent. Let's dig in.
Okay, so connecting this back, many methods we just naturally turn to, right? Rereading endlessly, highlighting until the page practically glows. Yeah. They create that exact illusion of competence we mentioned. When you reread something, it starts looking really familiar, and your brain kind of goes, oh yeah, I know this. But that familiarity, it's just not the same as truly understanding it or being able to, pull that information out cold.
But wait, I always felt like highlighting helped me focus, at least. Am I just fooling myself there, or is there something to it? It feels active.
That's a really good question, and it shows how tricky this is. Highlighting can draw your eye, sure, but it's still mostly passive. It doesn't force your brain to actively retrieve the information.
Okay.
Think of it like watching someone else lift weights at the gym. You see them doing it, you understand the movement.
But you're not getting stronger.
Exactly. You're not building your own muscle memory for that information. It's not really helping it stick long term.
Okay. That analogy makes sense. What about cramming then? I definitely remember trying to cram for history in college, fueled by way too much coffee.
We've all been there.
And yeah, my short-term recall was amazing for maybe 24 hours then. EFT, gone. But it felt necessary at the time, just to get through.
Cramming is like the classic short-term fix. It might help you scrape by on a test right then and there, but almost all that information gets shoved into short-term memory. And it disappears fast because your brain just doesn't have the time it needs to consolidate it properly, to move it into long-term storage.
Right.
Your history final experience. Perfect example. It's like trying to stuff a whole week's worth of groceries into one tiny backpack.
Yeah, something's going to fall out.
Inevitably. You just can't hold on to that much dense information that quickly for very long.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So we've kind of debunked what doesn't work, and honestly, it's a bit of a relief. It's not just us, it's the methods.
Often, yes.
But if we've been doing it wrong, what does right actually look like? How is our brain designed to learn and remember things effectively?
Great question. It really requires reframing how we even think about learning.
Yeah.
It's not passive reception, like filling up an empty bucket. It's much more about actively processing information and, crucially, making connections. Deep, meaningful connections.
So less about just inputting data, more about building something, like a structure.
Exactly. Think of your brain building this huge, intricate, interconnected web.
Yeah.
Every new thing you learn adds a node to this web. Little point of information.
Oh.
Now, the stronger the connections between that new node and all the other nodes, stuff you already know, the easier it is to find and retrieve that new information later.
So it's all about the network, the connections.
Precisely. Building a really robust network of knowledge.
That's a great visual. So more connections mean more pathways to get back to that knowledge? How do we actually build those strong connections? This is the practical bit.
Active engagement. That's the absolute key.
Active engagement.
Yeah. When you actively retrieve information, pull it out of your memory, or when you deliberately relate it to something you already understand, you are literally strengthening those neural pathways.
You're making the connections stronger just by using them.
You got it. That's how the brain deepens understanding and makes memories last. And also, the right kind of repetition matters too. It helps consolidate memories, moving them from that shaky temporary storage to more permanent archives.
Purposeful practice, not just mindless repetition.
Exactly.
Purposeful.
Okay, this is fascinating. Now that we get why some methods fail and how the brain actually prefers to learn, let's get practical. What are some strategies people can actually use starting today? I'm really keen to hear these.
All right, let's do it. I've got 7 practical science-backed strategies you can start using right away.
7. Okay, lay them on us. What's number 1?
The first one, and honestly maybe the most powerful, is active recall.
Active recall, okay.
So instead of just rereading, you constantly test yourself. After reading a bit, close the book. Try to recall the main ideas. Use flashcards. Do practice questions. Even just ask yourself, okay, what did I actually just learn?
So forcing yourself to pull it out rather than just looking at it again. Exactly.
Yeah.
That effort of retrieving it, that's what strengthens the memory trace itself. Every time you pull that info out, you're not just remembering, you're literally forging a stronger pathway in your brain.
Wow. Okay. The mental effort is the workout. That's a big shift from just passively reading. What's next?
Building right on that is number 2, spaced repetition.
Spaced repetition. I think I've heard of this.
Yeah, it's getting more popular. It means reviewing information at increasing intervals over time. So instead of cramming, you review something shortly after learning it. Then maybe a day later.
Yeah.
Then 3 days, a week, and so on.
Okay.
This works with the forgetting curve. You know, how we naturally forget things if we don't revisit them. By spacing reviews, you interrupt the forgetting and push the information deeper into long-term memory.
So it combats the natural forgetting process.
Precisely. It's why apps like Anki are so effective. They automate the scheduling for you.
That makes total sense.
Yes.
Smaller strategic pushes over time instead of one massive forgettable cram session. But how do you stay focused during those sessions? That's my next hurdle.
Focus. That leads perfectly to number 3, the Pomodoro technique.
Pomodoro, like the tomato timer.
Exactly like the tomato timer. The idea is you work in focus bursts, typically 25 minutes, then take a short 5-minute break.
Okay.
After about 4 of these Pomodoros, you take a longer break, maybe 15-30 minutes. It sounds simple, but it really helps prevent burnout, keeps your mind sharp, and actually trains your brain to concentrate for those set periods. Great for beating procrastination too.
I like that. Breaking big tasks down, scheduled breaks. It seems manageable. What's number 4?
4th is mind mapping. This is fantastic for complex topics or just organizing lots of information.
Mind mapping, drawing it out.
Yeah, basically. You start with a central idea in the middle, then branch out with related concepts. Use keywords, maybe little images, colors. This visual structure really helps your brain see the connections and grasp the big picture way better than just linear notes. It builds that interconnected web we talked about.
That clicks with the web idea, visually connecting the nodes. Nice. Number 5.
Number 5 is a personal favorite. Teach what you learn.
The Feynman techniques.
Similar idea, yeah. If you really want to nail something down, try explaining it to someone else. Even if it's just your cat or an imaginary audience or talking to yourself in the mirror.
Okay.
Preparing to teach forces you to organize your thoughts logically, figure out what you don't quite get yet, and explain things clearly. That whole process massively deepens your own understanding and memory.
I can totally see that. Trying to explain something instantly reveals the gaps. It's like a built-in diagnostic. Okay, what about where you study? Does that matter?
It does. Which brings us to number 6. Study in different environments.
Really? I thought consistency was key.
That's the counterintuitive bit. While a dedicated space is good, varying your study locations, like sometimes the library, sometimes a coffee shop, sometimes just a different room at home, can actually boost recall.
How does that work?
If you only ever study in one place, your brain links the information very strongly just to that context. By switching it up, you create more diverse retrieval cues. The information becomes less dependent on that single environment, making it easier to access no matter where you are.
That's fascinating. More pathways in, basically. All right, what's the last one? Number 7.
7th, and really powerful, combine visuals plus sound plus movement.
Multisensory learning.
Exactly. Our brains love multisensory input, so try to engage different senses. Say things out loud. Sound. Write them down, maybe draw a related picture, visual, even pace around while reciting facts. Movement.
Okay.
The more senses you involve, the more pathways you create for that information to stick.
Yeah.
You're building a richer, more robust memory of it.
Wow, okay. 7 fantastic actionable tips. Active recall, spaced repetition, Pomodoro, mind mapping, teaching it, varying environments, and multisensory learning. That really changes the game.
Hopefully. They leverage how the brain actually works.
I especially like the teach what you learn one. But now, let's tackle the elephant in the room for many of us. Distraction. It feels harder than ever to focus with phones buzzing, notifications popping up.
You are absolutely right. Distraction is a huge, huge hurdle, especially, like you said, with all the digital noise. But there are things we can do.
Okay, focus boosting tips. Let's hear them.
All right. First, and it sounds basic, but it's critical. Eliminate distractions. Seriously. Put the phone in another room, or at least on silent and out of sight.
Out of sight, out of mind. Maybe.
Use website blockers if you need to. Close unnecessary tabs on your computer. A cluttered digital or physical space often leads straight to a cluttered mind. You've got to clear the decks.
Tough love, but probably necessary. What else?
Second, try to create a dedicated study space, even if it's just a specific chair or corner of a room. When you use that space only for studying, your brain starts to associate it with focus. Sitting down there becomes a cue to get into work mode.
Like a psychological trigger. Okay.
Exactly. Third, try mindfulness and deep breathing for just a few minutes before you start. It sounds a bit woo-woo to some, maybe, but it really helps quiet that mental chatter, that background noise in your head, and primes your brain for concentration. Just a few deep breaths can make a real difference.
Calming the system down before you start makes sense.
Fourth, set clear intentions. Before you even open a book, decide exactly what you want to achieve in that session. Not just, I'm going to study, but I will finish chapter 3, answer the first 10 practice questions, and review my flashcards for 15 minutes. Give your brain a specific target.
A concrete goal, not just vague studying. Yeah, that feels much more actionable.
Definitely. Fifth, remember to take planned breaks. This loops back to Pomodoro. Knowing a break is coming helps you push through when you feel your focus start to wander. You know relief is scheduled, so you're less likely to just give up or get pulled away.
Right, it makes the focus time feel less endless.
Exactly. And finally, number 6 for focus. Address internal distractions. What about the thoughts inside your head?
Yeah, the worries, the to-do list.
Right. Keep a notepad nearby for a brain dump. If a nagging thought or worry pops up, quickly jot it down. Get it out of your head and onto the paper. That often helps release it, so you can return your focus to the task at hand without that thought constantly interrupting.
Get it out so it stops buzzing around in there. I like that. Those are great practical steps. Well, this has been incredibly insightful. We've covered why old methods fail, how the brain really learns, those 7 powerful strategies, and now how to actually focus. It feels like a complete toolkit.
That's the hope. It really comes down to understanding and working with your brain, not against it.
Absolutely. And that leads us to our challenge for you, the listener. We want you to put this into practice. For the next 7 days, pick just one of those 7 effective learning tips we went through, just one. Maybe active recall, maybe spaced repetition, maybe Pomodoro, maybe teaching it to your dog, whatever resonates.
Just try one.
Yeah, pick one and really try to incorporate it into your learning or studying this week and pay attention. See what difference it makes. How did it feel? Did the information seem to stick better? What changed for you?
Because learning smarter isn't about more hours, it's about better strategies.
Exactly. It's about understanding this amazing brain of yours and giving it what it needs to really thrive. So pick one, give it a shot, and see how much more effective your learning can become. Until next time, happy stuttering.